Welcome back to the deep dive. Today we're jumping into a really crucial topic for anyone building a business or, for our IGCSE business students, especially as we kick off Unit 4 on marketing. Our focus for this deep dive is Chapter 34, The Importance of Marketing. Think of this as your essential guide to understanding why marketing isn't just about selling, but about truly connecting with your customers and, well, building something sustainable. We're going to try and pull out the most important nuggets of knowledge to give you a clear picture.
Precisely. We'll be studying and revising the core concepts in this chapter, focusing on those fundamental principles that businesses use every single day. We'll break down the key terms and try to make sure everything is clear, especially for those of you who might be navigating these business concepts in English for the first time.
And just a reminder, for even more resources on all these topics, you can always visit www.igcse-business.weebly.com.
So let's unpack this then. Let's dive into why marketing is so incredibly important for really any business aiming for success.
Okay, so to kick us off, let's talk about why marketing is, truly at the heart of business success. We always hear about competitive markets, right? But with so many options out there, what does it actually take for a product to be bought, not just, made?
Yeah, what's fascinating here is that businesses operate in environments where they always have choices. For those customers to choose your product, let's say, it needs to meet their needs, be priced fairly, be conveniently located, and crucially, it needs to be brought to their attention. This last point, that's where effective marketing really, really shines.
Right.
Without it, even the best product might just sit on the shelf.
So it's not just about having a great product, it's making sure the right people know about it at the right price in the right place. That sounds like a lot more than just a catchy advertisement.
Exactly. And this raises an important question. What's the difference between, say, a market and marketing? They sound similar, but they're quite distinct. A market is simply a place or, a set of arrangements where buyers and sellers meet to exchange goods and services. This could be physical, like a traditional high street shop, or virtual, like an online store.
Ah, okay. So a market is basically the arena where the business happens. It's the where.
Exactly, the where. And within that arena, you've got different types. You've got consumer goods markets for everyday things like food or furniture. Then there are markets for services, banking, cleaning, hairdressing, that kind of thing. You also have housing markets, commodity markets for raw materials like oil or coffee. Lots of different arenas.
Okay, that makes sense. So if that's the market, the where, what is marketing then? What's the doing?
Marketing, on the other hand, is very much an active process. It involves a whole range of activities that help a business sell its products successfully. Formally, it's defined as a management process involved in identifying, anticipating, and satisfying consumer requirements profitably.
Identifying, anticipating, and satisfying. Okay.
The key insight here is that it's not just about selling what you have. It's about making sure you have what people actually want to buy.
So what does this really mean in practice? What kinds of activities are we actually talking about?
Well, marketing activities include things like identifying consumer needs. That's crucial. Then designing products to meet those needs. Also understanding the threat from competitors, informing customers about your products, charging the right price, persuading consumers to buy, and making products available in convenient locations. It's a really comprehensive approach. It covers a lot.
That leads us perfectly into this idea of satisfying customer needs. It sounds obvious, right? But how do businesses actually do this effectively beyond just, guessing?
Yeah, it's definitely not guesswork. They really must use market research to accurately identify what customers want and need. The more accurately they do this, the more successful their products are likely to be. But it's not just about current needs. Businesses also need to try and anticipate future needs and respond quickly to changes, things like new products from competitors, emerging trends, new technology.
Right, staying ahead of the curve.
Yeah, Zach.
We hear a lot about building customer relationships. What does it truly look like beyond just, say, good service at the checkout? How do businesses make customers feel genuinely connected?
That's a really interesting area. Many businesses actively try to build these long-term relationships. It's about effective communication, sure, but also consistently meeting customer needs over time. This includes things like taking complaints very seriously, personalizing communication where possible, even just saying thank you genuinely. It's about knowing your customer, connecting regularly, not too much, but enough, and fundamentally building trust. These are active steps to foster that loyalty.
Okay, speaking of loyalty, let's really dig into this. Keeping customer loyalty. Why is holding on to an existing customer so important? I've heard it's more cost-effective, but is it that significant?
Oh, it's incredibly cost-effective. You're absolutely right.
Right.
Studies consistently show that retaining an existing customer costs maybe around 10% of the cost of acquiring a new one.
10%?
Yeah, it's far more efficient for businesses to keep the customers they already have happy. And yet, here's the interesting thing. Many businesses still tend to focus more effort on chasing new sales, maybe because that feels like a quicker win.
Right, the immediate gain versus the long-term value.
Exactly. It's a common trap. The quiet value of a loyal customer often gets overlooked.
So to avoid that trap, what does a business need to do to really keep a customer loyal? What does that look like day to day?
Well, to retain loyalty, a business has to constantly satisfy those customer needs. That might mean developing new products or variations. It means providing first-class customer service, maintaining that effective communication we talked about, delivering reliability, being dependable, and of course, responding to changes in the market. Brand building is also absolutely key here. People stay loyal to brands they trust and feel connected to.
Okay, and are there specific ways businesses achieve this, like practical examples we might see every day?
Absolutely. Businesses use a whole toolkit of tactics. Yeah. One very common method is reward cards, like the ones from supermarkets, coffee shops, airlines, where you earn points or get money off vouchers.
Yeah, I have a wallet full of those.
Right. Another strategy is offering free gifts. Maybe Amazon gives you a free Kindle book for leaving a product review or a sample of a new product. Studies show a significant percentage of people who get a free gift are more likely to buy from that retailer again. Businesses also sometimes engage in charitable donations linked to purchases. So part of what you spend goes to a good cause. That can build a really strong emotional connection.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
And what about working with other businesses? Can that help?
Definitely. That's where partnership deals come in. Businesses team up to share benefits and rewards, enhancing loyalty for both. For instance, American Express linked up with social media platforms like Twitter, allowing customers to link their cards and get discounts just by tweeting a certain hashtag.
Clever.
Yeah, it's all about creating more value and reasons for the customer to stick with you.
Okay, let's unpack another crucial distinction now. This one seems really fundamental to how a company thinks. Product orientation versus market orientation. They sound a bit similar, but I imagine there's a big difference in how a company actually operates day to day.
Oh, there's a huge difference. In the past, and you still see it sometimes, many businesses were product-oriented. This means they focused primarily on the design and manufacture of the product itself, often without deeply considering what the customer actually needed or wanted. The philosophy was kind of, if we build it, they will come. Think of a brilliant engineer creating something amazing in isolation.
So they just assumed customers would want whatever amazing thing they made.
Pretty much, yeah. You saw this sometimes with, say, pharmaceutical companies maybe decades ago, the science led, and then they figured out the market fit. However, those successful businesses today are market-oriented. This means they are led by the market. Their focus is squarely on the consumer. They invest heavily in market research to understand what people want before they even start developing products.
So market orientation means creating what customers need, not just what the company can make.
Precisely. It's driven by customer demand or anticipated demand.
That seems like the obvious way to go. But is there a risk, though? If you only focus on what customers say they need right now, could you miss out on truly groundbreaking ideas they haven't even imagined yet?
That's a brilliant question, and it highlights a really key tension. You're right. While market orientation is generally seen as superior, an over-reliance on just asking customers what they want can sometimes stifle radical innovation. Think about companies like Apple historically. They often created demand for things people didn't know they needed until they saw them.
Like the first iPhone, maybe?
Exactly. So the real mastery is often in balancing what the market tells you with that visionary leap. It's about listening, yes, but also having the foresight to sometimes lead and surprise your customers.
Okay, so once a business understands its market, whether it's market-oriented or not, how does it actually measure its position? That brings us to market share and market analysis. What's the difference there?
Right. So market share is quite specific. It refers to the proportion of total sales in a particular market that one business or product holds. That's always expressed as a percentage. The calculation is pretty simple. Total sales of your product or business divided by the total sales in the whole market, then multiplied by 100.
So it's like asking, what slice of the pie do we have?
Exactly. It's a snapshot of your current performance relative to everyone else.
Could you give us a quick example?
Sure. Let's take that petrol station market in Kenya again. If Vivo sells 28% of all the petrol sold, Canal sells 19%, Total 18%, or Libya 26%, and then maybe others make up the last 9%. Then Vivo has a 28% market share. It immediately tells them how they stack up against Canal, Total, and the rest. It helps identify who the market leaders are.
Okay, got it. And market analysis, that sounds much broader.
It is. Market analysis is a much broader, deeper process. It's the quantitative and qualitative assessment of a market's features and characteristics. It's about gathering all sorts of information to really understand the market, its overall size, its growth rate. Is it expanding or shrinking? How many businesses are competing in it? And it also looks at factors that might influence changes, things like social trends, political shifts, new technologies. It considers profitability, opportunities for segmenting the market. It's the whole landscape.
So market share is like checking your current position on the map, while market analysis is studying the entire map, the terrain, the weather forecast, everything.
That's a great analogy.
Yeah.
Yes, market analysis provides the context for understanding market share and planning future moves.
Right. Let's move on then to another pair of strategies, niche marketing versus mass marketing. These sound like completely different ways to approach that market landscape.
They really are.
Yeah.
Mass markets are, as the name suggests, very large. These are markets where products are sold to almost all potential customers. Think of everyday items like standard soft drinks, basic bread, maybe popular breakfast cereals. Businesses in mass markets typically produce huge quantities. This often leads to economies of scale, which means lower unit costs and potentially lower prices for consumers. They aim for high sales volumes to achieve overall profits, and they tend to spend a lot on marketing big advertising campaigns to reach that massive audience.
Casting a really wide net.
Exactly. And a niche market.
That sounds like the opposite, a much smaller, more specific target.
Precisely. A niche market is a small segment of a larger market, usually with very specific needs or preferences. Businesses targeting a niche often face less direct competition within that specific space. However, their overall sales volume and potential total profits are usually smaller. Examples might include, say, high-performance luxury sports cars, very specialized hobby equipment, or maybe a radio station playing only obscure jazz. It allows a business to focus really intensely on pleasing a particular group of customers and build a strong reputation within that group.
So mass marketing is like shouting to everyone, while niche marketing is like having a focused conversation with a specific group.
That's a good way to put it.
It makes sense that a niche allows for that focused approach. But I wonder, is it then harder to grow a niche business if it's too specific? Or does that intense focus actually make it easier to nail down exactly what those customers want?
That's the classic trade-off, isn't it? And you've hit on a key strategic point. It can be harder to scale significantly if the niche is extremely small or doesn't grow. But on the other hand, that intense focus absolutely makes it easier to identify, understand, and truly satisfy those specific customer needs. When you know your customer inside out, your product development, your messaging, your service, it can all be much more effective and build stronger loyalty. And this brings us back to something crucial. Markets aren't static. They're incredibly dynamic. They constantly grow, they shrink, they fragment into smaller segments, new ones emerge all the time. Businesses just cannot afford to be passive observers. They have to constantly monitor their markets, identify shifts in customer needs, and be ready to quickly develop new products or services. If they don't, they risk losing that precious market share.
Given how fast things change today, technology, trends, global events, keeping your finger on that pulse must be incredibly challenging. What are some of the biggest shifts businesses need to watch out for?
You're right, it's a constant challenge. We can group the main drivers of change into roughly 3 categories. First, changing customer needs. As consumers' incomes change, especially in developing economies, their preferences shift. Think about growing middle classes in places like China or India, driving demand for new types of goods and services. Also, better communication, access to information online that leads to more sophisticated tastes. New technologies like smartphones constantly reshape what customers need and want, creating entirely new markets and expectations. And then there's growing concern for the environment, sustainability, and of course, fashions and trends are always shifting.
Okay, so needs change. What else?
Second, changing customer or consumer spending patterns. It's not just what they want, but how and where they spend their money. Businesses need market research to track this. For example, the huge shift towards online shopping versus traditional retail, or trends in spending on experiences versus physical goods. Businesses have to follow the money.
Right, adapting the where and how of selling. And the third category.
Third, and this is a big one, increased competition. This is the constant rivalry between businesses trying to win the same customers. When competition heats up, Maybe a new player enters the market or an existing rival gets aggressive. Businesses are under immediate pressure to respond. They might need to lower prices or maybe make their products more distinctive or higher quality. They might invest more in advertising or offer extras like better customer service or longer warranties.
Do you have an example of that?
Sure. We've seen examples like major supermarket chains sometimes losing significant market share because they didn't adapt quickly enough when new, cheaper discount stores entered their market. They then had to invest heavily in price cuts and loyalty schemes just to try and win back those customers. It's a constant battle.
It really sounds like businesses need to be incredibly agile, almost constantly looking over their shoulder and ahead at the same time. It's a dynamic game of adaptation. Okay, wow. We've covered a huge amount of ground today, from the basics of markets to the complexities of loyalty and change. Hopefully you're starting to see how all these pieces fit together. To help solidify some of these core ideas, let's test your understanding with a few quick questions. Ready?
Okay, sounds good. Listen carefully to each question and the options and take a moment to think about your answer.
First question. A business has a 35% share in a market worth US $38,000. The value of this market share is A, US $13,300,000, B, US $13,300,000, C, US $130 billion, D, US $130 billion.
Okay, take a second. The correct answer is A, US $13,300,000. You calculate 35% or 0.35 of $38 million.
Right. Question 2. The process of gathering quantitative and qualitative information about the features and characteristics of a market is called A, marketing, B, market analysis, C, market orientation, D, market forces.
What do you think? The correct answer is B, market analysis. That's the broad assessment we discussed.
Okay, number 3. One advantage of a niche market is that it is easier to do which of the following? A, identify customer needs. B, distribute products to consumers. C, keep production costs down. D, manage cash flow.
Thinking about that focused group, the answer is A, identify customer needs.
Yeah.
That focus is the key advantage.
And the last one, number 4. Which of the following is a marketing activity? A, reducing waste in production. B, increasing cash flow. C, increasing the rate of return on a product. D, identifying the needs and wants of consumers.
This goes back to the core definition. The correct answer is D, identifying the needs and wants of consumers. That's fundamental to marketing.
Great. How did you do? We hope you got them all right, or at least that the questions helped clarify things. You know, what really strikes me after this discussion is just how interconnected everything is. It's not like marketing is just one department's job. It touches everything, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
From understanding the customer initially to designing the product, setting the price, getting it to them, talking to them, keeping them happy, it runs through the entire business. Understanding these concepts, it's fundamental for any IGCSE business student, yes, but really for anyone interested in how successful businesses actually work. It makes you think how many potentially great ideas or products might have failed simply because the marketing aspect wasn't properly understood or executed.
Yeah, that's a sobering thought. Well, this deep dive should give everyone a solid foundation, and hopefully it sparks some curiosity to learn more. And remember, learning is always a continuous journey.
Definitely. And maybe a final thought for you to consider as you continue that journey, given how rapidly technology and consumer behavior are changing right now. How might businesses need to adapt their approach to building customer loyalty over, say, the next 5 years? What new strategies or tools might become crucial?
That's a great question to ponder. Think about that as you keep exploring these topics. And don't forget, for more resources and to continue your study, you can always visit www.igcs-business.weebly.com. Thanks so much for joining us on the deep dive today. Until next time, keep learning and keep exploring.